Do not wait like I did. If you are looking to take your content to the next level, the Blackmagic PYXIS 6K is probably the best camera for you. And that's whether or not you're in the middle of an upgrade or you're starting your cinematic storytelling journey. What I'm gonna focus on is its affordability, the fact that it's modular, full frame, 6K open gate, and it can be used in professional workflows. Not only that, there's added value that comes along with this camera as well. This is not a sponsored video. This is my Blackmagic PYXIS 6K, and I wanna discuss why I think that this may be the best camera for you to either get started completely or to be your first major upgrade in your kit. With this PYXIS 6K, I think this is designed perfectly for somebody that wants to start that cinematic storytelling journey, or if you're looking to upgrade. And some of the few features that I'm gonna cover on this is the fact that it has a 36 by 24 millimeter full frame capable true 6K sensor. You got a dual ISO at 400 and 3200, and then you also have 13 stops of dynamic range. So whether you're shooting indoors or outdoors with this camera, you're going to be able to get a really great picture. I wish I would have started with a camera like this 5 years ago when I started my journey, because now 5 years into learning and knowing how to create content, I don't know some of the basics of color grading and different things like that, which is holding me back. That is one of the reasons that this should be your first thought when, looking into starting that journey. One of the biggest features of the Blackmagic PYXIS 6K is its body. This is CNC aluminum, and there are a ton of 3/8 and 1/4 inch screw points or mount points on this body just naturally without having to have a cage or anything like that. You can connect things directly to this. Now this only costs $2,500. Let that sink in. That is the same price as my A7C2 over here, and a little bit more than my FX30, etc. And this is a 6K open gate sensor. One of the really great things about this is that you can start with just the body, right? And that's $2,500. I have the L mount. It also comes in PL mount and I believe EF. And I've been rocking this with the DZO Vespit 2 lenses that was sent out to me by Adorama. They sent out the entire kit. I have a full review coming on that on like the last third week of October, like around the 20th, somewhere around there. I also use this daily with my Tilta battery V mount, and Adorama actually sent me one of these, but I had already purchased one of these. So I have one of these. So I wanted to share that they sent me one, but I already had one and I love it. And I use it with this setup. And then I actually started using my PYXIS with a $79 lens from Astra Ori, and it actually produced some really great footage. And I have a video on that. I'll link that above. You can check that out. And then Kent Faith sent me this battery to do a review on that, and that's only 120 bucks. $2,500, $200, $100. So we're basically at $2,800, $2,900, and then this lens right here is $1,200. So that is the exact same price as the Sony FX3 body by itself in 2025. This is completely modular. I can make this however I want it. And in fact, I'm going to be updating my rig on this today. I typically rock this with my Blackmagic monitor here. This is a 1 cable connection for video and power. So I'm running that out of my V-mount battery. I'm getting a lot of battery life out of this one V-mount battery. And most times I don't even worry about taking a second V-mount or anything like that. I just take the one and I'm out all day. I usually use this with this handle as well. This is actually a side handle from Small Rig. I think you can get this now for like 30 bucks, 40 bucks because it's an older version. And this connects directly to the top of my PYXIS. And I don't have to, have a cage or anything like that. And that keeps my PYXIS extremely light. And so this is, for the most part, my kit for my PYXIS right now. But I am going to be updating this today and adding some things to it to add some functionality to my kit. So next, let's talk about some of the frame rates and things like that you can get with the PYXIS while I add some of these new pieces to it. You get 6K open gate, right? You also get 6K 241, you get 4K DCI up to 60 frames per second, and you're limited to 120 frames per second with 1080p, which, you know, in today's environment, I don't think that's really that good in regards to slow motion, but a lot of people will export to 1080p after capturing in 4K and things like that, but me personally, I don't use 1080p slow motion for this, and so I technically I'll do the 60 frames per second on a 30 frames per second timeline and use that. But that's limitations, right? But in regards to codecs, this simultaneously records in BRAW and H.264 Proxies. And so that allows you during your edit to edit with the proxies. And you can even send those to like an editor, online and different things like that, the Blackmagic Cloud and all those different things, so they can start the edit without you being present. And then you can bring in those high resolution BRAW files later. And then depending on what your system is, then that will determine whether or not you actually need to do that workflow, but that workflow is there for you in case you need it. The biggest added value for this that I haven't talked about to this point is that this comes with DaVinci Resolve Studio for free. And that is a $350 value that basically gives you a complete ecosystem from start to finish in Blackmagic environment. So you start with recording your footage on this camera. You then bring that footage into DaVinci Resolve Studio, which is used, matter of fact, to build out real movies that you watch on Netflix and Hollywood, big screen, etc. They use DaVinci Resolve Studio. So that software comes with it for free. That means you don't have to do a monthly, software subscription to Premiere. You don't have to do it to CapCut. Like there's other ones out there that people use, but that all comes included with this body, $350. And so that is a phenomenal value add. So you add that on top of everything else that we've gotten here, and if you're comparing this to like an FX3 or something like that, that's at $4,000 for the body alone, you're now beating that, by a lot. And so modularity, affordability, software included. You have this screen here that comes along with it. I think it's around 1500 nits, which is good for outdoor shooting, but when you're actually shooting, it's kind of hard to see it, off to the side, and that's where the Blackmagic the PYXIS monitor comes, and I think this starts around 300 bucks or so. Correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong, but this is a one solution where you can control the entire camera with this monitor. And so I never actually have to look down there. I control this entire camera just by touchscreen and the function buttons on the back, and it works flawlessly. I don't need anything more than this. This is my complete setup right here, and I could basically record something that's gonna show up on Netflix with this kit. So let me know any questions that you have in the comment section below. For well under what you would pay for a Sony FX3, which is an equivalent type camera, you get this beast of a camera that is almost impossible to outgrow. And lastly, to put a bow on this thing, Blackmagic continues to update their cameras for years. The Pocket 4K just recently got a ProRes, I think it's the 4K, just recently got a ProRes firmware update. And this one is rumored to have autofocus soon, as they are testing that on the Blackmagic Cinema 6K L mount, which has the same sensor as this one. And so that one is in beta as far as the autofocus. If this camera gets autofocus, it is lights out for a lot of the cameras out there, because the price to value ratio for this is phenomenal. So again, let me know your thoughts, any comments you may have. If you enjoyed today's content and you want to see more content like this, consider hitting that subscribe button below, joining the Cozy Coalition. But this has been a fun video to make. I absolutely love this camera. I love working with this camera. So let me know your thoughts. And as always, stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.